Have you ever had one of those mornings where you wake up and something just feels off? You didn't sleep terribly, but you still feel foggy. Your joints are a bit stiff, and that energy you used to wake up with just isn't there. So you grab your usual toast or bagel. Maybe you think it's whole wheat, it must be fine, and move on with your day. But by early afternoon, your eyes are heavy, your brain feels fuzzy, and you're wondering, why am I so tired all the time? Here's something you might not expect. The kind of bread you eat could be playing a bigger role than you think. Now I know, bread is comfort, it's tradition, it's a sandwich with your grandkids, toast with your morning tea, a roll with dinner. Bread is woven into daily life. But after 60, our bodies begin to change. What used to work might not anymore. And certain types of bread, especially the ones that are most common and convenient, can quietly mess with your energy, your digestion, your weight, and even your memory. That's why today, we're talking about the 4 worst breads you should avoid at all costs, and the 4 best kinds that you actually should eat, possibly even daily. I'm going to walk you through each one, explain the why in simple terms, share stories from people just like you, and help you make choices that keep you strong, sharp, and feeling your best. Because this isn't about restriction or fear, it's about freedom, the kind of freedom that comes from waking up with energy, being able to go for a walk without joint pain, remembering names and stories clearly, and feeling good in your body. And don't worry, you don't have to give up bread completely. You just need to know which kinds serve your health, and which ones quietly steal it. Now before we dive in, let me ask you something simple. What kind of bread do you eat most often? Pop it in the comments. I'm genuinely curious. Your answer might help someone else recognize a pattern in their own habits too. And if you're new here, welcome to Everyday Ageless. This is where we keep things real, practical, and uplifting. If you're all about aging well, staying independent, and feeling vibrant, no matter the number on your birthday cake, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You're in good company. Alright, let's get into the heart of it. Let's start with the first major reason to reconsider your bread: blood sugar. Now don't worry, we're not diving into a science textbook. This is about real life, real results. So picture this. Janet, a 67-year-old retired teacher, starts every day with a piece of toast, just like she always has. A little peanut butter or jam. Nothing fancy. But by noon, she's yawning. Her legs feel heavy. She grabs a little something sweet to perk up. And by evening, she's too tired to go for her usual walk. She starts wondering if it's just aging. Maybe this is what 67 feels like, she thinks. But here's the truth. It wasn't her age. It was her blood sugar. You see, many popular breads, especially white bread, and those soft, squishy wheat breads that look healthy on the outside, are what we call high glycemic. That just means they turn into sugar in your body really fast. And when that sugar hits your bloodstream all at once, it spikes your energy temporarily, then crashes it just as fast. That crash? That's why you feel tired 2 hours later. It's why your brain feels cloudy. It's why you might be craving snacks even when you're not truly hungry. A lot of people think, but it's wheat bread. That's the healthy one, right? And that's the sneaky part. Not all wheat bread is created equal. Some are just glorified white bread, dyed brown and sprinkled with a few seeds to look healthy. So what can you do? Here's the first swap: sprouted grain bread. It's made from grains that have started to sprout, which makes them easier to digest and gentler on your blood sugar. It's chewy, hearty, and full of nutrients. Brands like Ezekiel are widely available, but you can also find local options at health stores or bakeries. Another gentle option: low-carb almond flour bread, especially if you're managing prediabetes or energy crashes. Now, I'm not saying you need to throw out everything in your pantry today, but maybe tomorrow morning try half a slice of sprouted bread instead. Pay attention to how you feel afterward. You might be surprised how your body responds. And remember, this isn't about being perfect, it's about being aware, one small shift at a time. In a moment, we're going to talk about your gut health and how certain breads can either nourish or completely disrupt it. It's a part of the body we often overlook, but it has a huge impact on your immune system, your mood, even your skin. Let's take a breath here. Maybe pause and reflect. Have you ever noticed a crash after your morning toast or sandwich? If you have, you're not alone, and there's a good reason for it. Let's talk about something that might not come up often in casual conversation, but is absolutely essential to how you feel every day: your gut. Yep, your belly, your digestion, your microbiome. This incredible world of bacteria inside you that impacts everything from your immune system to your mood and even your brain. Here's the thing, after 60, our digestion slows down a bit. The natural acids and enzymes that used to help us break down food in our 30s and 40s, they aren't as active now. That means your body becomes more sensitive to certain ingredients, and breads loaded with preservatives, artificial ingredients, and heavily processed flours can really mess with your gut balance. Let me share a story with you. Tom, who just turned 71, called me up a while ago frustrated because he was constantly bloated. I've cut dairy, I drink more water, but my stomach just feels like a balloon after lunch, he said. We looked at his lunch routine, and guess what was the star of the show every day? 2 slices of soft sandwich bread, the kind with a 6-month shelf life, and a list of ingredients you need a magnifying glass to read. What many people don't realize is that some breads are made with additives that irritate the gut lining, especially if you already have a sensitive stomach or conditions like IBS. And gluten, while not evil on its own, can become a problem when it's ultra-processed and consumed in large amounts from low-quality sources. Now let's clear up a big myth. Gluten-free doesn't automatically mean healthy. In fact, many gluten-free breads are packed with starches and sugars to make up for texture. You might end up trading one issue for another. So what's a better option? Look for sourdough made from ancient grains, like spelt, einkorn, or organic rye. Why? Because traditional sourdough is fermented, and that fermentation process breaks down much of the gluten, making it easier on your gut. It also feeds the good bacteria in your digestive system. Another tip? Choose breads with 5 ingredients or fewer, real ingredients you can pronounce. Think flour, water, salt, maybe some seeds, and a natural starter. That's it. Your gut will thank you. So if you've been feeling bloated, gassy, or like your digestion just isn't what it used to be, try switching your bread for a week. Swap your usual loaf with a traditional sourdough or a simple rye. You might be shocked at how much lighter and clearer you feel. And speaking of feeling lighter, let's talk about something that so many people over 60 struggle with, but almost no one wants to bring up: belly fat. I know it's a sensitive topic, but not for the reason you might think. This isn't about vanity, it's about health. That stubborn weight around the middle is more than just cosmetic. It's a major signal from your body. Marie, a 66-year-old grandmother I've worked with, told me, "I've been walking every day, cutting out desserts, even skipping meals, but this belly won't budge." I asked her to keep a food journal for 3 days. And guess what showed up consistently? Toast with margarine for breakfast, a sandwich with soft 12-grain bread for lunch, and a dinner roll in the evening. She hadn't considered bread an issue because it wasn't sweet, it didn't feel indulgent. But here's the science in plain language. When you eat high-carb, low-fiber bread, especially those soft packaged ones with added sugars, your insulin levels spike. That insulin tells your body, store fat, especially around the belly. And that kind of fat, called visceral fat, isn't just frustrating, it's dangerous. It wraps around your organs and increases your risk of heart disease, stroke, and even dementia. Let's bust another myth while we're at it. Multigrain does not mean healthy. A lot of breads labeled multigrain are just white flour with a few oats or seeds sprinkled on top. You have to flip the package and look at the first ingredient. If it says enriched wheat flour or just wheat flour, put it back. So what's the swap? Try flaxseed or chia-based breads. These are rich in fiber, omega-3 fatty acids, and plant-based protein, all things that help regulate insulin, reduce inflammation, and yes, support weight loss around the middle. Plus, they keep you full longer. No more reaching for snacks an hour later. And if flaxseed bread sounds too health food store for you, don't worry, they're getting tastier and more accessible. Look for brands that use seeds as a base, not just as decoration. It's okay to love bread. It's okay to want that toast in the morning or a sandwich at lunch. What matters is choosing breads that love you back. That's what everyday Ageless is all about. Aging well, not by denying pleasure, but by making choices that align with the life you want to live. So just to recap what we've covered so far, the wrong breads spike your blood sugar and leave you drained. Some breads wreck your gut health, especially when loaded with additives or processed gluten. And many healthy-looking breads are actually fueling stubborn belly fat and inflammation. Now let's shift to something deeply personal for many of us: memory. You walk into a room and forget why you're there. You blank on someone's name, even though you've known them for years. You start rereading the same paragraph because your focus just won't stick. Sound familiar? It's easy to brush these moments off as just aging. But what if I told you that your brain health is directly impacted by what you put on your plate, especially the bread on it? Let me tell you about Gary. He's 70, sharp as a tack in conversation, but he started to notice that his recall wasn't quite the same. I used to breeze through the crossword, he said. Now I get stuck halfway. His doctor ran tests. Nothing alarming, but his fasting blood sugar was creeping up. And that's when the conversation turned to carbs. See, your brain needs fuel, but not just any fuel. When we eat high glycemic breads, the kind that convert into sugar quickly, it can lead to blood sugar roller coasters. These spikes and crashes don't just leave you tired, they stress the brain. Over time, chronically high blood sugar is linked to cognitive decline and an increased risk of conditions like Alzheimer's. In fact, some researchers even call Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes. That's how closely the brain and blood sugar are connected. Now I know that sounds heavy, but this is where hope comes in. When Gary swapped his usual toast with something more brain-friendly, like oat bran bread loaded with seeds, he noticed the difference within a couple of weeks. More stable energy, better focus, and fewer of those "what did I come in here for" moments. So here's a gentle suggestion. Start viewing your bread like brain fuel. Look for options that are high in soluble fiber, like oats, and fortified with things like flax seeds, chia seeds, or even omega-3s. These support your neurons, keep inflammation down, and help regulate blood sugar. Think of every bite as a message to your body. Choose breads that say, "Let's stay sharp." Now, speaking of messages, let's talk about the one your body sends through pain, especially in your joints. If you've ever stood up from the couch and winced at the stiffness in your knees, or tried to open a jar and felt that ache in your fingers, you know what I'm talking about. Joint pain can creep in slowly, but it changes everything. Your walks get shorter, your motivation dips, and you start planning your day around discomfort. But what many people don't realize is that inflammation from food is one of the biggest contributors to joint pain. And yes, bread plays a role here too. Marie, a 66-year-old client, was active, upbeat, and loved gardening. But her hands were giving her trouble: swollen knuckles, tenderness, even tingling at night. Her doctor said it might be early arthritis. She wasn't thrilled at the idea of medications, so she started with her diet. Within just 2 weeks of cutting out refined breads, especially those loaded with sugar, preservatives, and poor quality oils, her pain eased. And when she added anti-inflammatory breads into her routine, the garden gloves came back out. So what are those? Look for breads made with buckwheat, millet, or quinoa flour. These ancient grains are naturally gluten-free, rich in magnesium, and incredibly soothing to the body. Some even contain turmeric or herbs that help calm inflammation further. And here's a fun fact: magnesium deficiency is super common in older adults, and it's closely tied to muscle cramps, joint stiffness, and mood swings. So a bread that gives you magnesium? That's a win-win. You don't have to eat perfectly. Just swap what's causing inflammation for something that soothes it. Now we've covered a lot already: blood sugar, digestion, weight, memory, joints, and you might be wondering, okay, what can I eat then? Let's take a deep breath together. You've got more good options than you think. Here are 4 breads you should absolutely keep in your kitchen, the ones that can actually support your health and maybe even be eaten every single day. 1. Sprouted grain bread. This is number 1 for a reason. It's high in fiber, gentle on blood sugar, and packed with nutrients. It also tends to have no added sugar, which is rare for packaged bread. Traditional sourdough from ancient grains. Thanks to the fermentation process, sourdough is more digestible and easier on the gut. It's got that tangy flavor and chewy texture you crave without the junk. 3. Flaxseed or chia bread. These are amazing for heart health, brain function, and keeping inflammation at bay. Plus, they help you stay full longer, which is great if you're trying to manage your weight or prevent blood sugar crashes. Buckwheat or millet bread. Naturally gluten-free and loaded with magnesium, these breads are perfect for anyone dealing with stiffness, anxiety, or sleep troubles. Are they more expensive than regular bread? Sometimes yes, but remember, you're investing in your independence, your energy, your clarity, and in many cases these breads last longer because they're more satisfying. You don't need to eat 3 slices to feel full. One more tip, just like your body thrives on movement, it also loves variety in food. Mix things up, try a different one each week, make it fun. Your taste buds and your cells will thank you. Now, we've talked a lot about the physical side of things. In the next section, we're going to shift gears. We'll talk about the emotional side of health, what happens when we feel like we're losing control of our bodies, and how just one small change, like swapping your bread, can spark a comeback story. Because I want you to feel encouraged, not overwhelmed. You deserve that. Take a breath. You're doing great. And we're just getting to the heart of it. Let's take a moment together, not to talk about bread, not even about nutrition, but about something deeper. If you're over 60, you've already lived through seasons of change. You've raised families, worked hard, navigated grief, celebrated joy, and adapted more times than most people give you credit for. But aging, this chapter, it comes with its own quiet fears, doesn't it? Not being able to move like you used to, struggling to remember things that used to come easily, the aches that appear out of nowhere. And sometimes the hardest part isn't the physical, it's the feeling that your body is slipping away, and you're not sure how to stop it. I want you to hear me clearly right now, like I'm sitting across from you at your kitchen table. You are not broken, you are not too far gone, and it is never ever too late to start feeling better. You see, your body is always listening, always adapting. Even now, that's what's so amazing. The same way it once healed a scraped knee, or bounced back after a long day, it still wants to heal, to energize, to protect you. But it needs your help, not perfection, just a little help. And sometimes that help starts with something as small as swapping your bread. It's not really about bread. It's about choosing to treat your body with the same kindness and respect you've given to others for years. It's about believing that you still deserve to feel strong, to feel sharp, to feel at peace in your own skin. And if you're watching this not for yourself, but for a parent, a partner, or someone you love, I see you too. You're doing something powerful. You're looking for answers. You're showing up for them in a way that matters more than they probably say out loud. Thank you for caring that much. So let's bring it all together, shall we? Here's what we've covered today, broken down into simple, real-world takeaways you can act on this week. Most packaged processed breads, especially white bread and fake whole wheat, spike blood sugar, drain your energy, and feed belly fat. Common store-bought breads often hurt your gut, leading to bloating, sluggish digestion, and inflammation. Breads marketed as healthy, like multigrain or low-fat, can be sneaky sources of starch, sugar, and additives. Better options include sprouted grain bread, traditional sourdough from ancient grains, flaxseed or chia-based bread, and magnesium-rich options like buckwheat or millet bread. These choices don't just support your digestion, they help regulate weight, support brain function, and reduce joint pain. It's not about giving things up, it's about upgrading what you're already doing, one simple step at a time. Let's take this moment to reflect. What kind of bread do you have in your pantry right now? And what might shift in your body, your energy, your clarity, if you simply swapped it for a better one? If this video has sparked a thought, a feeling, or even a little motivation, will you drop a comment below and let me know? I'd love to hear which bread are you curious to try next, or which one surprised you the most today. Your comment could inspire someone else who's scrolling through, wondering if change is even worth it. Let's show them it is. And if you found value here today, if this made you feel more informed, more hopeful, more in control, I'd be so honored if you'd tap that like button and consider subscribing to Everyday Ageless. This channel is all about helping you feel vibrant, strong, and clear, not just for today, but for all the years still to come. I truly believe the second half of life can be the most powerful, not because everything's perfect, but because you're showing up for yourself in new ways, smarter ways. You're not alone on this path. You've got a whole community right here who gets it. We're walking this together. And in just a moment, I've got a little bonus for you, a final bit of wisdom that brings it all home. A quote I keep in my back pocket whenever I start feeling stuck, plus one more wellness tip that's often overlooked, but could change the way you feel tomorrow morning. Stick around. You're going to love it. All right, if you've made it this far, first of all, thank you. I know this was a deep dive into something that might have seemed simple on the surface. Bread, right? But as we've seen today, the tiniest changes often carry the biggest ripple effects. And because you've stayed with me, I want to leave you with something extra, a tip, a truth, and a little bit of inspiration to carry with you into tomorrow. Let's start with the wellness tip, and it's something I call the 90-10 bread rule. What does that mean? It means that 90% of the time, you choose breads that nourish your body, like sprouted sourdough or flax-based breads. But the other 10%, that's for joy, that's for your favorite bakery croissant on Sunday morning. That's for the warm dinner roll at your granddaughter's birthday. That's for life. Because wellness isn't about being rigid. It's about creating room for both health and happiness. When you focus on the 90% with intention, that 10% becomes a guilt-free treat, not a derailment. You're allowed to enjoy food, and you're allowed to live. Now here's the truth I want to leave with you. You're not aging, you're evolving. Your body is changing, yes, but so is your wisdom, your self-awareness, your ability to say, I deserve to feel good. Don't underestimate how powerful you are just for deciding to care about your health right now. That choice matters. You may not feel 25 again, but you can feel clearer, lighter, stronger, and more vibrant than you did last year, or even last month. That's not just possible, that's real. I want to share something a viewer named Evelyn once wrote to me. She said, I thought I was too old to change, but it turns out I was just too tired to try. Now I know better, and I'm starting small. And you know what? She's walking 30 minutes a day now. She swapped her sandwich bread, and she says she hasn't felt this clear-headed in years. So whether you're taking your first small step today, or you've been on this path a while, just know, I'm proud of you. Truly. If this video meant something to you, if it gave you clarity or encouragement, please take a moment to hit that like button, share it with a friend, and subscribe to Everyday Ageless. It tells the algorithm you want more content that supports your health journey, and it tells me you're out there, walking this path with me. And finally, if you're ready for the next step in your healthy aging toolkit, here's what's coming next. In our next video, we're diving into 3 morning foods that quietly sabotage your metabolism after 60. You might be surprised by what's on the list, and one of them, you probably had this morning. So be sure to check that out. It could completely change the way you start your day. Until then, take care of your body like it's the only one you've got, because it is. But more than that, take care of your spirit. Nourish the part of you that still dreams, still laughs, still wants to dance in the kitchen when no one's watching. You're not just getting older, you're becoming more of who you were always meant to be. And that is something to celebrate. I'll see you in the next one.